And we're back.
And we're back. Welcome, everybody, to the Elevate Pod, where we're here to help founders elevate to the next level by lifting them up with all the latest and greatest strategy tips, tactical, practical takeaways. Don't forget to smash that like button, share this out to someone else that needs this. But I'm welcome today. I'm joined today, not welcome, but joined today by my two co-hosts. We got Neil Fairmont and Simon Severino. Neil, how's it going today?
Very well, thank you. Great to be here again. Even with the time change, it's nice to see you 1 hour earlier.
Yeah, the time change kind of messed me up a little bit because Simon's over in some foreign parts of who knows where he lives, and
Nobody
his
knows.
hours are a little bit different. Simon, how are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm fine. I didn't use the panic button for Neil yet, so it's a good day. It's a good day.
It's a good day. Don't forget, next week, founders, we are going to be covering should you write a book or not? The pros, the cons, the goods, the bads, the uglies, everything else you want to know about why or why not you should write a book. Simon already has one published. I'm working on a couple of them right now. And Neil is considering it. So it's a perfect topic for the three of us to get into and discuss. Just we can talk about it from all angles, right? So with that said, welcome. Today we are covering The Price is Right. Da, 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 da. But anyway, the song, the show. But yeah, we're going to be talking about pricing power. Pricing power is so valuable. It's that thing that helps businesses to get more profit and go faster. So we're going to dive right into it as we always do during the show. We have 5 questions and then 2 vulnerability lightning round questions that we're going to throw at the judges here. So let's just start. Simon, what's a win of the week this past week?
Sprint Club has now 201 members. The leaderboard feels like a CrossFit box. It's populated. We are inspiring each other. Win.
I love that. Neil, what about you, man? What's a big win in your world today?
I just got a new client this week after I'd actually increased my prices. So we can talk about that as well. There you
go. Perfect.
So that was
it's a fitting topic for today. Excited about that. All right, well, let's dive into it. We got question number 1 coming right at you guys. We're going to start with Simon this week. Simon, what exactly is pricing power and why is it one of the most important levers in a business?
Pricing power is such an under-discussed topic. I found the first mention of pricing power in one of the letters of Warren Buffett when he writes once a year to his investors, to his shareholders. And in that he said, if I had only one thing that I look for in a business when I evaluate if to invest, the one thing would be pricing power because everything else is downstream from there. And so I went deeper and deeper and deeper. There aren't many books about this. Basically almost no book on pricing power. There are a few books on pricing that are helpful for entrepreneurs, practical books like how do you find the right price. And so I went into this rabbit hole. What is it? Pricing power is your ability to charge 25% more and your clients say thank you. That's pricing power. And you saw it with Neil's example, that it's counterintuitive. Many people think, oh, I have to lower prices, while the reality is mostly the opposite. As soon as you find your right position and right offer and increase your price, that's when your conversions get better.
Love that. I love that. Neil, I'll come over to you. Why would you say pricing power is one of the most important levers in a business?
I think it demonstrates the value to your customers by also valuing your time and your service. I think if you and it's a difficult one for me when I first started with regards to what pricing should I set my services and offerings to. Do I go lower than the competition to gain more leads and so on, or do I price it to a point where it's shown as a value and an authority in my service? And I think if you value yourself too low, then that maybe sends a negative message. So the power in pricing is to pick the right price for within your market. And as Simon said, you can certainly charge more than the competition if you have a service or an offering that's so valuable to your clients, they will definitely pay for you.
I love that. The only part that here I would add to pricing power would be that of like, if you're just getting started and you don't know kind of like what and how to price, we'll get into some of this in a minute here, but people that don't charge enough, like their businesses don't last. And I think that's like just important to remember. Pretty valuable there. So, okay, let's move on to question number 2. Simon, what strategies can founders use to justify premium pricing and avoid competing on price?
There are 28 things to do. Now, we probably can't cover all 28, but let's pick some of them, right? And I'm happy to share a PDF here and then in the comments where people can download all 28. One of those is it's my favorite actually. It's the blue exercise here behind me. We call it strategic value. So if you can find out what they actually pay for when they pay you, that's one very important of those 28. The question is, what is coming for your buyers in 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? So what is coming for them? It can be a technological shift, a trend. It can be a macroeconomic shift. It can be stagflation. It can be AI. What is coming for them in the next 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? And how will you make sure they are ready for what's coming? So it's 2 sentences, right? You write them down, and it's such a small difference, but it's a huge difference because this is why they actually pay you. It doesn't matter if your services are you build a website or you improve a LinkedIn funnel. The actual reason why they pay you is they want to be ready for what's coming for them. And they wouldn't engage you if this wasn't contributing to them being ready. So if you can make it explicit on your website in the first 10 seconds, in an email in the first part, in a DM if you're using FlowChat, very quickly, right? If you can make this explicit, that's one of the 28 things to do.
Okay, making it explicit on the first 10 seconds of your website is a great practical, tactical takeaway. Are you talking about then just maybe having like a banner that says we're the most premium price people in the industry, or like saying something like that on the website, Simon? Or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, one way we're doing this with clients is you create 2 things with us, without us. For example, just 2 panels, right? So without us, you have friction in your workflow. It costs you $27,000 to do this. With us, no friction. You're ready for the next thing that's coming, and this is what's coming. And instead of $27,000, it costs you $13,000 to do the same thing. So with the visualization, for example, this is how we play it, because it's easier to look at something for most people on their phone. So we usually visualize it. The second thing is to visualize it with testimonials and to actually visualize the progress. For example, less time, and then you see time going down, or more revenue, and you see revenue going up. How much? And so we try to visualize it because we never know. They might be on their phone in the metro. They have a dog. With half their attention, they're on YouTube. With the other half, they are on our website. So we want to make it as easy, as visual as possible for them.
Yeah, totally. The 2 things that I'm going to share here, I think are pretty classic, right? So if you're a founder and you're struggling with like, how do I charge more? I don't know if I can charge more. I don't feel like I'm warranted to charge more. If you have that kind of imposter syndrome, here's kind of one thing that I would suggest that you do. Just look in your niche and look at the price range of what people offer. You're going to have a low and you're going to have a high, right? And the best thing to do when you're first getting started is always price premium. Why? Because prospects, when they see a higher price, they immediately think you get what you paid for. That's what they remember, right? And so they think that the higher price usually justifies the expenditure, the spend, because they're going to get more in return. So starting at a high price point is a valuable thing to do, especially if the second thing I was going to share with you is if you're going to go low price, you have to be able to deliver in large quantities, right? So it's a volume game. If you don't have capacity to serve lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people, increase your price. Hopefully that helps. That's kind of what I'd share about how do you justify premium pricing and avoid competing on price. Be the highest priced person in your market by design, right? Or at least the second highest priced guy, because nobody cares about the middle of the road, right? They want premium stuff. Most people will buy premium stuff, and I think that's something way to look at it there. All right. Let's move on to question number 3. Simon, coming back at you here. Or Neil, we skipped you. Shoot, sorry. Let's go back to question 2. I'm not skipping you there. Neil, what strategies can founders use to justify premium pricing and avoid competing on price?
I can just relate to how I sort of tried to tackle this, and I agree with you, what you both said, especially around the imposter syndrome about whether I should be charging these premium prices. I mean, who am I to do that based on other people and competition and things? But what I've always said to people is I will give you some time back. You hire me, you use my services, your time is very valuable to you as an organization. So my sort of push is I'm going to save you time, I'm going to give you some time back, because you can't have or be dealing with the ins and outs of video production, how to get things set up, how to get looking good on camera. Let me do that for you, give you your time back, elevate your presence online, and therefore it's a win-win for both of us. You're getting time back, you're looking better, and I will do the work for you. So that's just one quick thing that I sort of did when I started off my business.
So good. So valuable. Love that. All right. Moving on to question number 3. Simon, coming at you. How does brand perception, storytelling, and video content influence a company's ability to charge more?
Ooh, that's a good one. Another one of those 28 things that we ask is, if you can pick only one thing, do you make them smarter, happier, or richer? Which one do you pick? And usually in the coaching session, it's, well, I do a little bit of all the 3, and it's mostly correct. But if you can pick one, now your brand, if it's a personal brand or it's beyond the person, doesn't matter. Now your brand gets crisper. It's easier to touch it, to understand it. And the next practical thing is we go to their LinkedIn banner, X banner, and the content and streamline it accordingly. For example, they're a coach and they pick richer. Now, the posts, the banner, they will have money involved, either financial freedom or cost reduction. If they pick happier, the images will be more nature and the beach, etc. The language will be more nurturing. And if they pick smarter, the content beginning from the banner to the posts themselves will be breaking down complex terminologies of their industry into simple visualizations. So this is how branding can contribute to pricing power and positioning if you create a certain cohesion. What's hard for us small businesses is we don't have a design department, right? So we go with our hunches, and sometimes that looks all over the place. It was definitely for me. But the first time I started one slide deck, I called it branding. And then I had my 5 slides really defined: the logo, the colors. Are we making them richer, smarter, or happier? And then I defined a few things, 3, 4 main decisions. And then we got more cohesive. This is how you can use brand, and how brand actually matters in pricing power and in positioning, because it's always about the risk. The buyer is at risk. I am risking here. If I pick the wrong thing, I'm risking to lose time, to lose reputation, to lose money. So how can you make it safe for them? And this is one contribution that they say, oh, it's designed, it's cohesive, they thought about this.
Love it. Make it safe. Just writing that down. Good one. Okay, Neil, over to you. Question 3. How does brand perception, storytelling, and your specialty video content influence a company's ability to charge more?
I think, to Simon's point, I think the consistency and the branding is really important. It's all about perception these days. So you have to have a consistent look and feel and a consistent brand across where all the touch points are that your potential customers will see you. So having the same color scheme, the same branding, and the same look and feel across all these mediums is a really important point to embrace and show people that you are a valuable brand, because that perception is really important when making buying decisions. And from a video perspective, back in the day, and I say back in the day, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, everybody was posting videos and so on. So there was a perception that, well, everybody's doing it. It's okay to just shoot with your phone or whatever. But times have changed. The equipment has got cheaper. The barrier to entry in terms of delivering high quality video content online is much less than it used to be. So now people, when we're making buying decisions, there's a ton of videos out there with people looking really, really good. So it's not good enough, in my opinion, now to just be just like everybody else was 5 years ago. To stand out and to elevate your presence online, you have to look better online, you have to have a decent image, you have to have branding, you have to have consistency across all the platforms that you're on. So for me, video now is more important than ever, and especially to look good online and to sound good online as well, compared to how it was 5 years ago.
I love that. It's so true. So true. And it's not expensive these days to get the equipment that you need in order to like get to a place where you can get that better equipment. The one thing that I'll share about this is like what Simon said was true. Your job is to make your products make your clients smarter, richer, or happier. But when you brand position those things, never ever use the ERs. Bigger, better, stronger, faster, richer, smarter. Like take the ERs out of your vocabulary, because when your prospects see those words, they immediately compare smarter than, happier than, and they start doing these comparisons in their head. And if they have a baseline of comparison to something that's less expensive than what you offer, they'll probably choose that. So the key is when you're writing marketing messaging or you're setting up your websites, change those words, smarter, richer, and happier. Instead, use the term new, rare, or different. Because if something's new, rare, or different versus smarter, richer, or happier, new, rare, or different, you have no baseline of comparison. This allows you to say my price is X because this is new, rare, and different. There's nothing like it. And then your prospect will be like, okay, well, I don't have any baseline comparison. I guess I might as well pay your fee. But it's kind of also still got to be related to your world. So hopefully that helps. Just try to take out the ERs. Nah, don't be smarter, better, faster, stronger, happier, anything ER. Be new, rare, and different. That's what I'd share as my tip, because when you do that, you can charge more, right? And so what Neil said was totally true. Your audio, your video's got to look sharp. Simon, with the brand stuff, you definitely have to position it so that it solves one of those problems. But on the marketing front, you want to just be new, rare, or different. Okay, moving on to number 4. Simon, what are some common mistakes founders make when setting their prices, and how can they avoid them?
In the beginning, you have no idea what the right price is. And some people now, they just check what competition is doing and then replicate that. I won't do that. In the beginning, you can't know, so explore. How do you explore? You ask people for a range. For example, when I started my mastermind seven years ago, I wanted to start our mastermind, and I had no idea what to charge. And so I got the first 5 people in with any price. I don't think I had a price. I just had 5 conversations with people, and I said, you would be amazing in a mastermind. I have 4 other peoples in mind. Would you be interested? And what would it be worth to you? And they told me a range. I had a range from $5,000 to $15,000. And I said, okay, that's the range. Now I had a range to work with. Year over year, I started with a price. And of course, the more immature the product or the service is, the less your confidence and the less you should charge. And the better it gets, I doubled that amount over time every few years when it got better. As soon as the product was better, then I doubled the price. For everybody was grandfathered, but new members found the new price, And they weren't surprised actually, because they saw testimonials, they saw stuff working, and they saw a higher price. And of course, the earlier sprinters that were in, they were grandfathered as a much lower price. And I find it an organic, good way to do that. Now, this is for high ticket services. If you have a low ticket offer or software, there are more methodical ways to go about this. I was at Y Combinator, and they told us, increase your price. So if you're a software, for example, B2C software, increase your price by 5% with each new user until you hit 60% non-closing rates. And that can take a week or a month, depending on the volume that you got going on. But that is a more methodical approach. But you need more volume. So this is for lower ticket, higher volume exploration and then pricing. For high ticket, you never really know. You're making it up anyways. So you think of, what is a 10-to-1 ratio of what you can deliver? Can I save them $30,000 in time, for example, in time value? Then I'm charging $3,000. Can I add 200,000 to their life? Then I'm charging 20,000 with confidence.
Love that. That's easy rules of thumb there. Neil, over to you. What are some common mistakes founders make when setting their prices, and how can they avoid them?
I mean, first of all, I have to agree with everything that Simon said, because I had to go through the same process. So I was looking at the competition. I had imposter syndrome. I was also looking at potential clients and trying to work out what they charge, and going back to this saving the time thing and so on. If I could save them X amount of time where they could be actually working with their clients and charging their rates and getting their revenue, then how would that reflect on maybe what would they pay for me? So I went through that sort of process of talking to people as well, understanding what the competition was doing, but then just looking at sort of my experience, how I have got good reviews and things on some of the free material that I put out on YouTube, and I saw that there was lots and lots of value that I was providing to people. So I then started at a sort of a certain figure, and then incrementally over time, I started to slowly increase my prices. And I keep trying to do that, iteratively, without being too crazy about it, because it's a service that I'm offering and I don't want to price myself out of the market. But I think some of the common mistakes that people make is, one, they may price themselves way too low, and then that's a really good offer. You get 100,000 people coming at you for that particular offer, and you can't fulfill it because simply you don't have the time. The offer's so low, it's like, it's so low, it's too good to be true. Maybe it is, because you can't now fulfill that demand. And then the other scale is, well, maybe I'm just pricing myself so high that I'm getting absolutely no customers coming to me whatsoever. So it is a little bit of a juggling act, and I think you have to sort of maybe do a little bit of research that Simon did mention, but not sort of go down that route and compare yourselves to other people. You are unique in the service offering that you do, whether it's a product or a particular service. So don't price yourself too high or too low. Try and take some middle ground. Look at what your clients are potentially going to pay and what they're sort of charging for their clients, and maybe work backwards from there. It is a tough one though, and it's something I think a lot of people do struggle with early on. I'd be interested to see what sort of how you tackle that as well, Sean.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything both you guys have said. My rule is the 10x rule, just like Simon's rule is the 10x rule, right? So it's like, can you deliver 10x the amount of value to what you charge somebody? That's the right amount. Like what Simon said, if you can bring somebody $10,000 of value in their life and actually get that as a result, you should be charging 1,000. Right? If you can bring them 1 or 200,000, you should be charging 10 or 20,000. That's an easy number to start. Now, if you don't know what to do or how to charge it, I think the big thing to remember is the biggest mistake I made was we would set a price and I would forget about pricing power forevermore. And then my price would be just blocked in stone. And I forgot that I should be changing my price. So that's one of the biggest mistakes that I made going through my journey. And it hurt us because of what Neil said. We started getting so much traction and delivering so much value in these testimonials where we were getting 20s to 1s, 30s to 1s, 40 to 1x on what we were charging people. And I just was like, oh, like we can't charge more. Like we're just charging the thing. And then so many people started coming into the community that we couldn't serve. And we ran into the same problem that Neil just identified. And so there is a check and balance. And again, think about a cadence in your business. Like, is it 6 months? Is it a year? Is it 3 months? Like, what is the cadence where you need to just mentally price check your pricing power to make sure that it's within that 10 to 1? And as you get more and more testimonials from people, ask them the harder question. What's the value you got from this thing? Oh, well, it saved me 100 grand. And if you're charging 5 grand, you may want to think about, oh, well, there we go. I'm going to start charging 10 grand, or at least bump it to 7,500, or do the scholarship move. Sounds like this. Hey, Simon, my services are $10,000, but right now I'm offering a $2,500 scholarship. You want the scholarship? Yes, Sean. How do you get the scholarship? Very simple. All you got to do is record a 1-minute video every week for the next 12 weeks that we work together. Send those to me. My team will create a marketing video for you and me. It's a journey for you, marketing for me. You get it as a gift. I get it for your scholarship exchange, and I can use it for marketing. Is that a fair agreement? Totally. Great. You get a discount down to 7,500 on something that should cost 10K in return for getting a testimonial that's built in. If you do something like that, now this is an easy way to start bumping up the number. Hey, it's 10K, it's 10K, it's 10K, but then throw the scholarship, you're actually selling it for 7,500. And now you can move forward with confidence because they still feel like, holy shit, I'm getting a discount, right? That's the idea. So anyway, that's kind of a couple of things that you may want to share. That scholarship move helped us to close hundreds of thousands of dollars. I would implore you to use that as soon as possible. So with that said, any last words there, Simon? You're nodding like this is right.
I
Are
like
you in
it.
agreement here?
I like it. People do the scholarship move. I'm not sure if it would work in every context calling it scholarship, but if you change the name according to your context, right, then it's great because you're anchoring. And so whenever
Yeah, I mean,
you are
we did-
anchored here and you get this, wow, cool, I'm saving.
So like when in truth be told, when the pandemic came through, we changed it from scholarship to the pandemic amount, right? So we just
Yeah.
use that's what you're talking about, is like use relevant recent
Yeah.
like things
Yeah.
and just kind of tweak it, right? So it wasn't
Yes.
scholarship, it was like the pandemic award or
Yes.
something, right? So
I had something similar like 5 years ago. Hey, it was around the pandemic time. I said, okay, hey, yes, you can start your sprint. It's $27,000, but there is a sprinter bonus if you sign the contract in the next 24 hours, and that's the sprinter bonus. I don't know, 3,000
yeah, and that's
off
another
that.
that's an yep, and that's the urgency bias in pushing people to do it now. I love that as well. So totally a great pricing power move, 100%. That's dope. Okay, so those are a couple of common mistakes to avoid. Remember, don't ever forget, you can change your prices. You're the founder. There's no rules. That's why you can elevate. All right, let's go to question number 5. Simon, coming back to you here. Can you share a case study or real world example where a business successfully increased its pricing without losing clients?
Yes, that's our daily job. So if you just increase the price, you might get a negative reaction. But we have 28 things to refine. We checked what is it that they actually pay for. We checked what happens in the first 10 seconds of your website. And so we go through those 28. In 90 days, we can complete all of them. And if we complete a good part of them, now you can increase by 25%. The elements are making it clear what they get, having deliverables. One element is literally refining the contract, the statement of work. In high ticket space, sometimes they don't even have a written contract. And so, of course, that decreases your conversion rate, because why would I send $30,000 without a written contract? And then when you look at that written contract, we find many things that can be optimized. It can be simplified, the deliverables clearer, the risk reversal can be optimized. How do you create safety and create resonance so that they see, oh, that's exactly my words. And on the other side, they see that you have a process. You are not making it up as you go. You have a process. It's a proven process, and it creates trust on both sides. first month of those 28, we pick the positioning ones. The second month, the messaging ones. And the third month, we go around refining the visual part of the message, which includes also brand, but also how the posts look like, the social posts and the emails, because there is always a visual aspect of whatever you send, and that works on the subconscious level.
So good. So good. I was taking notes. Neil, over to you. Can you share a real case study or a real world example where a business successfully increased its pricing without losing customers?
I can only speak for myself at this point, where I have recently, as I mentioned, increased my prices. And the reason why I did that is because I was providing more free material for people to address and work through in terms of maybe some issues and things that they were experiencing with video production. So making it very easy for them to get free content to be able to address some of the issues they were facing that were really maybe the low-hanging fruit, that some of the things that I didn't want to potentially deal with. So the issues that I get involved with now and the way that I work with people and so on are really more sort of higher production level workflows and things that people are sort of really struggling with in terms of going back to this, I don't have the time to fix this, I don't have the time to set this thing up. So I basically increase my prices to deal with the larger, more complex issues, which has worked out a lot better because one, the customer's getting value now because I'm addressing the sort of smaller niggly issues, if you like, with just free content that they don't need to pay for. And they know when they're paying for my services and coming to me increasing my sort of pricing just shows them that one, I'm dealing now with these more sort of complicated issues and these workflows that they don't sort of necessarily will be paying that same level of value for these sort of low problems that they can easily get resolved for free and things like that. But I mean, only time will tell. I mean, obviously, I'm not dealing with businesses that have increased their prices, but I've obviously worked with people that I've paid for services that they've increased their prices. But again, they've demonstrated lots of value to me. And you would definitely pay for services that are offering more value and demonstrating that sort of level of value compared to somebody who's just trying to increase their prices but give you nothing more or nothing extra. I think you always have to demonstrate value. You always have to go that extra mile and give more to the customers if you are increasing your prices, because I don't think you should just be increasing and doubling your prices and offering the same level of service. There has to be something more that you're offering to justify and warrant that price increase.
Love it. The one thing that I would add here would be what Neil said is true, but sometimes then that puts a founder on this hamster wheel of having to deliver more and more and more and more. And if you don't have team and system, that leads to a place called burnout. We all know that. That sucks. So one of the things that I always talk about, like with pricing power, and I've helped it with hundreds of clients as well as ourselves, but the example that I share with ourselves is whenever you like your product is not ever finished. Nobody's product or delivery stuff is ever finished. It's always going to improve. You're always going to put new things in there, change this, change that. And so what I look at is like how do you increase pricing without losing a client? Well, you got to have like a significant shift, something internally in your business that's a catalyst for you to say, hey, we've just shifted from, as an example, ClickFunnels, from ClickFunnels 1 to ClickFunnels 2.0. They started charging crazy amounts more for all their other stuff. Why? Because the user interface of that software and the user experience of going through that was different. It was easier. There was less steps. You could get to the result faster. This is a warranted price increase move and you won't lose any clients. The other thing that you could do is if you don't have a software or something like that, think about the roadmap or the experience of getting your client on the next step moving forward, right? And if you can have them do less steps to achieve the minimum viable result. So say, for example, it takes you a week to get somebody a result. If you can get that same result in 1 or 2 days, and you just shifted something in your delivery mechanism, that's definitely warranted for a price increase. And you won't lose any clients because they're getting the results faster. Again, new, different, and rare rather than faster. But that's the idea. We want to position our stuff as faster, but we want them to have an experience where, like, oh, this was totally different than anything I've ever done. That's what you want your prospects to say, because then you can charge what you want. So that's the things I would say is just like make sure there's some sort of it could be a UI UX, it could be a tech update, it could be a roadmap, it could be like a lot of different things internally. You brought a new team member on for one reason to like provide customer service. Like there's a million ways of how you can just increase pricing without losing clients. So that's going to finish our normal 5 questions. We're moving into the vulnerability lightning round. You guys ready, Simon? Yeah, he's like, oh no. Okay. Actually, I'm going to start with Neil. Neil, have you ever underpriced yourself or your services, and what made you realize you needed to change?
Yes, I have. And I was getting, I mean, it was a good thing at the time. I was getting lots of people pinging me and saying, I want your service, and so on, because I priced it so low. But the time that it took me to work with those people completely outweighed the revenue I was getting. So I was getting lots of business, charging very low amount, but taking me much longer to actually work with that. And it was wasting my time, effectively. I wasn't getting paid fairly for the amount of effort that I was putting in to support that. So yes, that's my experience of doing that.
Got it. Simon, over to you. Have you ever underpriced yourself and
Yes.
or your services, and what made you realize you needed to change?
I continuously underprice, and the revelation was it was our mastermind in the very beginning, and one of the first members told me, Simon, do you know that this guy charges 12,000 for the same thing? And I said, no, I didn't know. Let me check. And so we went to that website. It was pretty similar, and I took notice of that. My rule is, if something happens once, just notice it. If it happens twice, act on it, because now it's a pattern. And so he said it. Marcus told me you should charge more. I said, okay, I notice it. And then a few weeks later, another person told me that, and then I started acting upon it. I went to the website, because it's a subscription on the website directly, and so I changed the price.
And no loss of clients.
No, absolutely, because when I change a price, everybody who is in there is grandfathered, so only new people have a higher price, and they don't have a comparison, and they're not thinking about price. A good sales process has price as the smallest element of the conversation in step 8. And step 1 to 7 are, okay, where are you? What do you need? Where do you want to go? What helps you take the best decision? What happens if you do nothing? What else can you do? So after all of that, pricing is so irrelevant. It's just a number. It's just, can we start now or later, or do we need a payment plan? But the pricing is not that important. So whenever I had other conversations, they were all around, hey, okay, you want to accelerate sales? Okay, what can get you there? What did you try? This is what I can do. And then the last bit was, okay, what's the price? Which is just a liquidity conversation. It's not really, the decision happens much before, when it's about relevance. Do you get me? Do you get where I am? Can you get me there? This is where the decision happens. Can I trust you? Are you legit? Did you do this with people like me more than once? This is where the decision happens. And the last bit is pricing.
So true. The deals, as we both, a lot of us teach sales, one of the things I always say is there's 2 closes in every sales conversation. There's an emotional close and then a logical close. The emotional close is, hey, I solve your problem all day long and I want to work with you. Do you want to work with me? Yeah, I would love to, Sean. Great. Well, let's figure out the details. And then you move into the logical close, right? And if you're a really true advanced sales professional, like you can actually determine when those are happening in sales conversation. I just closed them emotionally. Now I just got to get through the details, right? So love that. That's awesome. The one thing I would share here is, have I ever underpriced myself for my services? Absolutely. What made me realize I needed to change? It was that feeling when I was doing delivery work, when I got so pissed off and I was like, why am I doing this? I'm not getting paid enough for this. That moment in my mind when I felt myself say that to myself, a lot of myself in the sentence right now, that was the moment when I was like, holy smoke, I can't just do this delivery work without charging more. I felt like I was like becoming a slave to my business. So if you've ever felt that way, it may be, then that's the trigger. That's the trigger that you worked for me. So Simon had a similar one. Neil had a similar one. Whatever the trigger is for you, when you get to that place where you're like, dang it, like I'm undervalued. I feel like I shouldn't be doing this work for the amount that I'm getting paid. When you feel that way, that's when you should go charge more, right? Is the idea. So, all right. And the last question coming back, we'll go over to Simon again. This will be a good one. I can't wait to hear your answer. What's the biggest fear that founders have around raising their prices? How did you overcome it? How do you help other people overcome it?
The fear is it's not going to close, right? They run away. When they hear this, they run away. And also, it's coming from a place where you don't know what are the exact things to do before you can raise a price. Sometimes the product is not so tangible. Like if you are a coach, consultant, advisor, the product is not that tangible. It's there are many moving parts, and so the problem is they don't know exactly what to optimize. When we show them the 28 things, they go, oh, okay, it's 28 things that I need to do. One is this, one is this, one is this. Now we have a game plan. And that feeling changes and go, okay, oh, it's a project now. Okay, how long does it take? 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? What's my resource here? Do I have a team that can do that? Do I have to do it? Can you guys help do some of that? And then it changes. Now it becomes a project. Okay, I know what to do. And the fear they will run away is now much lower because they actually see, oh, no, wait. We are working on value perception and actual value optimization. So you're creating more value, you're working on the delivery, on the content, but also on the packaging, which is then how that value is perceived. And when they get that, they relax and they go, okay, now I fear less actually, because what can go wrong? We're optimizing 28 things in my business. What can go wrong? Of course, afterward we can charge more if we deliver more value.
So good. I'm just writing a lot of notes. Again, what I caught from that, I think, and I just kind of resonate is if you're a founder saying, I don't know if I should raise my prices, I'm not sure. I'm in that land of like, I don't know what to do. Make it a project, right? Figure out what it takes to increase pricing, right? Go buy Simon's strategy sprints, go through the 28 things with him and understand what do I have to optimize, because then you have a roadmap. And so again, the answer here is I'd say get clarity. See, because if I went in and worked with Simon, like, I don't know if I should raise prices. And you're like, well, if you just tweak these 28 things, you should raise prices. And I'm like, I'm clear on this. I have a path that I can follow and it's warranted. And when that happens, your conviction level increases. And this gives you the warranted ability to charge more money. Neil, over to you. What's the biggest fear that founders have around raising their prices and how do you overcome it?
So much great advice from Simon already. I'm not sure if I can add any more, but I think the fear obviously is feeling that you're not going to get your clients. Your clients are going to walk away from you because either you've priced yourself out of the market, there's other people that they could go to that are offering a very similar service. So that's the fear of obviously not getting any more clients. And I think how to overcome that is really just to touch on what Simon said, is just to make it part of a project, to iteratively look at what additional value you can provide back to your clients. And then use the power of social media and marketing to elevate some of the content that you're now creating, some of the services you're offering. You may be adding more bells and whistles to a particular service and so on. You may be iteratively updating your software, the service offering that you're doing, and therefore that value that you're actually delivering back to the clients is actually front and center, and you're promoting that, and therefore that can warrant that price increase. And people can see, well, this guy is doing much more now with this particular service, or it might be a workshop, it might whatever you're actually doing. So I think those are the things that you can obviously look at. But making it a project is something I never thought about doing, and that's a really good advice from Simon. But that's why he's the expert in the field, right?
That's it, right? For sure. The other one that not too many people think about, because most people are like, oh, if I increase my prices, no one's gonna buy. That's the first thought. I'm glad that these two guys handle that. The second thought is like, if I increase my prices and somebody buys this and they come in community and then somebody else has another conversation, say, oh, you paid this, oh, I only paid this much. Those conversations are so far and few between that it's irrelevant. Look, I built audiences of, I built communities of a 10,000 plus. I've done it multiple times. And the amount of times that conversation came up was less than 0.1%. And even whenever if it did come up, the two answers I always had, well, you know, if this isn't for you, this isn't for you. I'll give you your money back. That's the first move, right? The second move is simply like the reason and then justifying why the price was increased. Now, in my case, right, when we built FlowChat in 2020, when you first bought that software, you had to actually be somewhat of a programmer. You had to Command Shift F12, you had to open consoles, you had to put code in, you had to do some other crazy things in order for it to execute. Now it's one click of a button, right? So the user experience of opening code, putting stuff, that's confusing, that's crazy. But, or if I could just click one button, that's easy, right? And so when somebody comes to me saying, why'd you charge me so much more? It's because you got a one click. You didn't have to learn all this programming. Like, do you want to pay less and go learn that? And everyone's like, no, 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 no. Right. And so that's really usually the conversation that I have with them. It's either one like, hey, if it's not for you, it's not for you. I understand. Like, I'm not for everybody. And again, I think the strongest ability, the strongest power, right? We always talk about power. How do you have power in a conversation is if you have the ability to say no, you have all the power, right? Don't be afraid to kick clients out, fire them. It's okay, right? You make the rules. And that is what I'll share on that one. With that said, that's going to wrap up our episode for today. Again, make sure to smash that like button, share this out. Is there any final words? Let's do one last thing here. Neil, what's your biggest takeaway from today? Simon, I'll ask you yours too.
I think is to build a project around iteratively changing prices and so on. So I think learning from what Simon's mentioned about these 28 points that you can address in your service, in your offering, is really key to sort of one, evaluating what you're actually delivering back to your customers and how you can sort of elevate your service and make it so much better, and therefore increasing those prices. So I'll take away that.
My biggest takeaway would be the shift in I need to prep my clients for the next 12 to 24 months. And if that includes a price increase, then that's what it includes, right? So that was my big takeaway. Simon, what was yours?
Nobody knows the right price, but there is an exploration there. And the best thing is not to start with the pricing, but with the value optimization and make it a project to increase the value. Use the 28 steps from the PDF, and then price is an effect.
Love it, love it, love it. Well, thank you guys again for being here, founders. This is the podcast to elevate your business to the next level. Make sure to smash that like button, share this out to somebody else who needs it. Don't forget, next week we are covering, should you write a book or should you not write a book? Why?
The book thing.
It's the book thing. I'm excited about that. Today's episode was The Price is Right. Hopefully that helps. You got a couple of takeaways. Please leave a comment below. Let us know what we should be talking about. Obviously, always open for ideas for our show here. And
let us know, should Neil write his book?
Ooh, should Neil write his book?
I think so.
I think so too.
We'll find out.
Anyway, with that said, guys, keep on dreaming.